January, or is it February 2026, do you support this broad-based
My position will never change on the broad-based government, because the explanation that was given for why we got ourselves into this arrangement has never changed. Even by the time of his untimely death, Baba had never changed the reasons or the arguments for us getting into that arrangement. And I explained them last year when we were here. It was for the sustenance of the democratic state, for us to get an opportunity to democratically remove them, because we did not want to create a precedent where people can go to an election and midway you remove them by means other than democratic means. So my position on that has not changed. And people have given me a lot of grief about it. But if we just go back, if we go back to the reasons why we got ourselves into this, we can actually retrace our steps. I hear people on podium saying, oh, we sat and we negotiated and this is what we agreed upon. This was a process that was forced. It was out of duress, out of the desire for us to stabilize a country that was quickly running out of options. And many people forget that, in fact, the architecture of this so-called broad-based government is not what we initially intended. And these are things that Mzee spoke to about openly. In fact, the initial idea was to put together a framework. You remember when he used to talk about even having a convention or something of the sort for us to have a conversation about whether indeed the country will... Yes, those things are historical and they're there. Yeah. Yes, so that people should not misrepresent why we got ourselves into this agreement or this arrangement. So your stand remains? My stand remains the same. Original reason for us getting ourselves into this particular arrangement. All right, let's focus a little bit on the party for which you are Secretary General. And you yourself said it at the start of this conversation that, you know, a lot happened after our last conversation in July of 2025. Your fate has been a discussion since then. Even after the passing of Raila Odinga. So today, Edwin Sifuna, are you in ODM? Are you out of ODM? Are you on your way out of ODM? Which is it? I am in ODM and nobody can kick me out of ODM. I have no intention of leaving ODM. I've said this publicly 1,000 times. You don't have to be an official of the party to be a member of the party. If we get to a point where, and in fact, you've heard us publicly calling for a National Delegates Convention, at which, because this constitution is, the reason why I bring these documents here is so that we can explain to your viewers what the true position of the party is. This constitution requires a National Delegates Convention whenever, in the circumstances unfortunate as the one that we found ourselves in, whenever a party leader dies. It is not an option, you know? And because some of them don't know the history of the party, some people who joined the party 2 weeks ago now claim to speak louder than even members of ODM that started the party itself, you know? I have been to an NDC, Yvonne. I was elected unanimously in 2021 at an NDC. That is why I am in office regularly. And the Constitution gives me a term of 5 years. So when we call an NDC this year, I am also subject to election, you know? So let whoever it is want to run for position of SG, let them just run. I cannot refuse people or prevent people from running against me for the position or any other position in the party. And when we demand these things, it is so that we clothe the leadership with legitimacy. There are people who have told Senator Oburu Odinga that when people call for an NDC, it is to kick him out. That's not true. The truth of the matter is you call for an NDC so that you clothe people in legitimacy, so that they're able to have the support of the entire party to do the things that they intend to do. Let's talk about that. Then they say, oh, it's about kicking Sifuna out, it's about kicking Oburu out. That is not what we are saying. Okay, so let's talk about that NDC for a moment. According to your party constitution, you say an NDC should have been called following the passing of the party leader, Raila Odinga. Absolutely. And but an NDC has yet to be called. I want to read it for you so that you don't say I'm reading my own things. This is Article 16, D, 2D. It says, in the event the party leader is unable to discharge his or her duties by reason of physical or mental infirmity, bankruptcy, death, resignation, or where he or she ceases to be a party member, a special national delegates convention shall be convened to elect a new party leader.
Okay.
You can just follow what the Constitution says.
All right.
You don't have to take my word for it.
It's been 3 months, maybe 3.5 now, since the passing of the party leader. An NDC is yet to be called at this time. Yet, shortly after the passing of the party leader, Raila Odinga, Dr. Buru Oginga, who's a nominated senator, was installed as interim party leader.
Yes.
Was that done procedurally, based on the constitution of the party?
Now, you can just read the Constitution. You don't need to ask me, because they say these documents speak for themselves. There's Article 17 that provides for deputy party leaders. And it says the deputy party leaders shall deputize the party leader and perform such duties and functions as may be expressly delegated to him. So, we have 3 deputy party leaders. The constitution of the party, we actually had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. By that time, Simbarati had already joined the fray. So my expectation, Yvonne, first, the public needs to be reminded that I was not part of that meeting that installed Oburu as interim party leader. In fact, when Baba died, many people saw me at State House when the official announcement was being made. I was wearing an ODM T-shirt. Because that same day, we were supposed to go to Kajiado. We had an activation in Kajiado for the party because it was one of those counties where there was going to be a by-election. And in the morning, I wake up, and it is one of the most shocking things. I just saw a message. I won't say from whom. It just says, Amolo has left us. And it was quite shocking because I had spoken with Mzee the previous day, So we all divert. I remember going straight to Mama's house in Karen. I found Gladys Wanga had already arrived, and we had to wait for the president to come. There was a delay in making that announcement because we had to wait for Oburu, who was up country, was in Kisumu. We were being given conflicting information. There was a chopper had been provided. The chopper was not there. He had to fly commercial, and he was unfortunately on one of his airlines that is notorious for delays. It was delayed as usual. And we sat there and waited and waited. And when he landed at JKIA, he had to be airlifted to Karen, and nothing could move. And we, it was a terrible time. So we find ourselves in a State House where the announcement is being made, and it was all very surreal. I was not even the initial plan. I was not in the initial plan to travel to Mumbai. But somehow, in between the announcement being made and when we left there, they said, if you want to bring your passport, you're going to Mumbai to bring back Mzee. I said, it's fine. So when I left, we had agreed with Honorable Sosi and Honorable Simba that we need to convene a meeting of the leadership so that they hear it from us, what has happened to their party leader. That was the only agenda that I expected when I left Nairobi for Mumbai. So we go to Mumbai and we come back, and in all that confusion, I don't even remember when I had that news, But I was like, the expectation of the Constitution is that when there is that vacancy, you have 3 deputies. You should be able to step in and say, you agree amongst the 3 of you and say, we are going to do a rotation or monthly rotation until the party is able to convene a national delegates convention to elect a party leader. But that's water under the bridge. I was not there. When they came and explained the decision to me, I said, fine. But in order for us to clothe your party leader with legitimacy, please follow what the rules do. It's not out of ill intention. It is just to say, this is what we should do by the dictates of our Constitution. So, because you're a Secretary General of a party, and that position is usually a key player in the convening of this important forum. Yeah. When is the NDC? When should it be? It can't just be, ODM is not a one-man show. The fact that I am SG doesn't mean I can just wake up and call an NDC. You look at the constitution of ODM on how NDCs are called, you have to have a resolution of the National Executive Committee, which is something that we can do, But as you know, we had issues in some of the elections. In fact, we had gotten to a place where we had concluded most of the elections up to county level. There are problems in counties, including here in Nairobi, where we have not done the county elections and a few other areas. And it would have been prudent for us to wait for that process to conclude. But you see, the anxiety from the members when I speak to them is that we are making very critical decisions. For instance, this decision that appears to have already been concluded, to have an MOU with UDA, a formal coalition with UDA, is something that is worrying members of the party, saying, please, let us take our time to be able to clean our house first, resolve a few issues internally, and then we can proceed with that conversation.
We will come to that in a moment, because I think that's a substantive part of this conversation that we're about to have. Calling for a resolution for an NDC. In your view, as a party member, even as Secretary General, when should this NDC be convened? Personally, I feel that the pressure is coming from all these decisions that are being pushed. So that it raises the question of the legitimacy of the decision makers. So that if we took a step back and said, let us give ourselves time to go through the process of the Constitution, there is actually no problem. There's no pressure. Because traditionally, if you look at the provisions on NDCs, we usually hold an NDC. It is stated that it should be held at least by December of the year before the general election. And that is why we did the last NDC in 2021 December, you know. So, but you can call for a special. The special one is only on this particular issue. Right. On this particular issue of the absence of a party leader. So therefore, in your view, the installation of Senator Oburu Oginga as, interim party leader was unprocedural? Not procedural in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. What I would have advised had I been in that meeting is allow one or the two or other deputies to act. You can even act 1 month, and in 3 months' time call a special NDC and do it procedurally and properly. Why do you then we just move. Why do you think you were not at that meeting? I was going to fetch my party leader. I was detailed to go to Mumbai to bring Baba back home. Do you think they could have waited for you as Secretary General? I don't think anybody. And how did you feel about being excluded? Considers me important enough to be waited upon, you know. And they have their reasons why they did it in the manner that they did. But I'm saying I was not there because I had been given an assignment. So, what if an NDC is called? A special one? Fine. And I haven't finished the question. Hang on a second. What if an NDC is called? Yeah. We have seen this in many instances in this country. We've been here, we've seen what typically happens at Kasarani. Yeah. Kasarani inakuwa Kisirani. We've seen victims of that Kisirani. And perhaps following in the footsteps of somebody like J.J. Kamoto, Edwin Sifuna is kicked out as SG. What happens then? It's okay, because Yvonne, there's nowhere it is written that Sifuna can only be the only one who's SG. You have a full complement of a party that has members, over 7 million members. Surely, can you be serious and look Kenyans in the eye and say you are the only person who can do the job of SG? I have said on this show, and I'll repeat it here, I have predecessors, people who have done this job. I have young people in ODM who I know for a fact, if they are given opportunity, they can do this job even better than Sifuna or all the other SGs that have served before. So it is not anyone's birthright to be SG or to be any position in the party. Would you stay as a member of ODM? Of course. Of course, I was a member of ODM, as an ordinary member of ODM. There's no problem. You know, Baba used to tell us that for you to lead, you must also learn how to be led. You know, you cannot be insisting that if there's a movement such as ODM, you are the only person who can be a leader in that movement. No. Let us allow the membership of the party to be able to say, Sifuna, now we feel that you have derogated from the values of the party. Let us try somebody else. And by the way, I really wish we get into this conversation of values, because this is the reason why I brought this document. Some of the resistance you see from some of us in some of those conversations that are going on is because we have been taught by Raila himself that we have conversations about coalitions with parties that bear similar values to us. Would Raila tear gas a church? That's a question you ask yourself before you sit down with someone who tear gases churches regularly. Would Raila countenance a situation where we are killing our young people in the police cells? Those are not the values of ODM. Would Raila countenance a situation where you are sitting down with partners who do not believe in democracy? They are dismantling democracy every single day. The people who don't believe in individual freedoms and social justice. Would those be partners he would sit down with, Yvonne? So when we raise these issues, and I brought even there was a statement of the ODM Central Committee that was made in Kilifi
And I listen to people. You see, when the team...
calling it the Kilifi Declaration?
Yes, when the team went to Kilifi, this is the resolution that was read in Kilifi. You see? And they say the committee expressed the intention to initiate structured negotiations with different political formations. Then people come to the public here and they say, we will talk only to UDA. In fact, the posturing we see in public is as if a deal has already been concluded. Our expectation was, when you're saying you're going to talk to different political formations, you will go to all these political formations and come back to the membership of the party and say, guys, we went to have a conversation with all these potential partners. This is what X is offering us. This is what Y is offering us. But look at the posturing that we see from some of the leadership in the party. It is as if the UDA marriage has already been settled upon, you know. But if Sifuna were to say that I do not want to converse with party Y, the way I've seen them saying, even here on Citizen TV, they would immediately say Sifuna is going against the resolutions of the Central Committee. So
let's talk about this pre-election pact talks now. First of all, we talk about, the issues of the parties. Like you said, the resolution in Kilifi was to speak to different political formations. And now it seems settled that that is with UDA.
Yeah. But that is a violation of that resolution. This resolution here does not say we will not speak to X or Y, or that we have already formalized. It says we will initiate structured negotiations with different political formations. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Could this be part of the start of that initiation?
Yeah, they actually say beginning with United Democratic Alliance. It is there.
Okay.
I don't dispute that. Yeah. But where you have immediately this statement was read, you have members of parliament, some members of parliament on standby somewhere in Karen. And then they start saying, oh, now we are going with UDA. This is a done deal. Mambo ingine hatutaki. I have a leader who is actually a member of the Central Committee. I saw him on Jeff Koinange saying there's people we will not speak to. That's what Raila told us. So why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say this in the statement?
Okay,
so we will not speak with Yvonne Okwara.
So let's talk about UDA now. What are your thoughts around a pre-election coalition pact between the two parties? Is it a good fit? Is it a good match?
Yeah. So if you want to know if it's a good fit, because I told you that we, who are students of Raila, who did not sleep at the back of the class, the way Winnie said some of them did, understand that you have to look for people who have similar values as you. So what are the values of ODM? And the values of ODM are specified under Chapter 4. And I want to just read them quickly. I'll go through them. Number 1 is the supremacy of party members. Number 2, social and economic justice. Respect for constitutionalism and the rule of law. Respect for individual and people's rights and freedoms. Democratic governance and people's participation. Those are the values of ODM. So when you go and look for a partner, you must find, of course, it is possible that those values might not be a 100% complete match. But you must find somebody whose values at least mirror what you believe in.
Do the ODM and UDA values align?
This is what I am saying. ODM would not tear gas a church. How clear can it get, Yvonne? Raila Odinga would not countenance a situation where police can go to someone's home in Homa Bay, take somebody's child and drive them all the way to Nairobi City and kill them in a police cell. This is why we signed this 10-point MOU. So I am saying, for me, after all these conversations have been had, my expectation is they will come to us and explain to us. In fact, it should be those proponents of that UDA and ODM, what is it called? MOU or whatever it is you want to call it, are the ones to explain how the UDA values mirror ODM's values. And the problem I have with the proponents of this UDA coalition agreement is, Yvonne, they have never tried persuasion. They don't try to persuade us. It is threats, it's intimidation, it's showing us they have money and the resources and the kujipiga kifua. Politics is persuasion. You need to tell me that this is how UDA and ODM are similar. You understand?
So if this question is put to an NDC,
yes,
a special NDC that would be held and it sails through, what then for you?
Let's cross that bridge when we get there. You know, one of the things that I really do have is confidence in the membership of ODM. these values have been repeated to us so many times that you can actually feel that you live them. And the members of ODM, even the ordinary members of ODM on the ground, live these values. This is what the party was always about.
But
so
yet,
let that question be put to them.
But yet
and
some of the leaders, SG, of the very party are pushing for, a pre-election pact with UDA. So
that's why.
Hang on one second. Do you think then they are not living the values of ODM
now?
And considering they are in leadership positions.
Now you have followed.
Party leader.
You have followed some of those conversations. The things they are saying, they are talking with UDA. Have those conversations been a values conversation? Have you heard those proponents saying, by the way, Mr. President, for us to support you, you must stop killing young people? That's a values conversation. Have you heard any one of them saying, if you shrink the democratic space such that people cannot express themselves freely, that when people talk, they are threatened with consequences? We had a young man arrested again just recently because I think he posted a photo of the president, I don't know where. So, have you had those conversations? Because that conversation about this marriage has to be a values conversation in my view.
So
what we are hearing, let me just finish. What we are hearing, and you can play those clips here. Or we want to, in fact, we have a very surprising way of negotiations where for the first time ODM is starting by saying the things they don't want. It is very strange to us. I am yet to grasp this negotiation skill where you start by saying, Yvonne, I don't want presidency, and I don't want deputy presidency. So we are increasingly, when you listen, it is just about positions. It is about roads. It's about markets. That is not value conversations. That's what I'm saying.
And roads and markets and development
roads
and infrastructure
and markets are important. Absolutely important. But the point that I want to make to you is that you must contextualize that development. If you look at the preamble of the Constitution, and I will repeat this 1,000 times, there was a yearning by Kenyans when they were passing this Constitution for a very specific type of government. And I have said this, all types of governments can build roads. We have neighbors. We know they don't have democratic systems such as the ones we've tried to put in place. They build roads. Dictators build beautiful roads. They build beautiful markets. Democrats also build roads. They also build markets. The only person there who will respect your individual freedoms is a Democrat. So when you look at the preamble of the Constitution, on what we wanted as a government, the basis of our aspirations, all Kenyans wanted a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. You have complaints, even as recently as the other day, that this government does not even respect court orders. But they'll build the Kenol Marua Road. So which one will you pick, Yvonne? If you had a dispute with someone, your landlord kicked you out today, you went and got a court order because that's what the Constitution tells you should do, and they disobey that court order with impunity. That beautiful road to your home will not make any sense to you. So
if, not values-based, as you're saying, if this is about positions, is that what you're saying about the section of the leadership that is
you just have to listen. You just have to listen to the conversation.
So do they not represent the values of ODM?
Now, I have read you the values.
In what they have been saying so far.
I have read to you the values of ODM. I have asked you in that entire conversation, have you had a values conversation? You have heard about roads. You have heard about positions. You have heard how happy we are that we got the CS for Treasury. You have heard how happy we are with the CS for cooperatives and energy and all the others. You have heard about dividing the cow. I mean, when we are dividing the cow, where are we discussing about the values?
So the ODM interim party leader has also, I think in the beginning we heard that they were going for nothing less than the DP slot in those negotiations. But just yesterday, he said they're not going for the DP slot in these negotiations, essentially telling the current deputy president that, they're not after his position. Your thoughts on that?
That's why I'm saying I'm not familiar with that style of negotiation. So I will wait, just as the other members of the party when all those conversations, because the resolution of the Central Committee was that they will initiate those negotiations. They actually tasked the party leader to have those conversations and then presumably report to us as members of the party that this is what we have
on those conversations and on that task that he was given in terms of, you know, going around and sort of gathering the views of the people. We have seen what they have termed as that, you know, with the interim party leader going around the country, you know, and trying to gather views. A move which you say is not funded by ODM?
No, I've said all those events you've seen, we have not signed for money from the party coffers for any of those events. Some
of those include exactly what you're saying he has been tasked with, which includes going to the party,
can I ask you a question?
No,
I ask you a question? He was tasked specifically the leading negotiations. Are you telling me negotiations happen on podiums with Nyota recipients seated there?
Okay.
And then the question is put, how many years are saying we should do a coalition? That's not negotiations. In fact, Yvonne, this constitution, when it talks about the roles of a party leader, it says he will lead negotiations. But do you know that this constitution provides for a coalition negotiation committee? And do you see...
Does that exist?
It is here in the constitution. That's what I'm saying.
Exist?
First, you need to understand there is a committee that helps the party leader in negotiations, because one person, it's not to say that you might not be up to task or so on and so forth. There's people, when there is a good team, they help you to be able to see other angles of things that maybe we might be overlooked, just to cross the T's, as they say. So the negotiations that are anticipated here are not the ones that happen at rallies. So you can't ask me if negotiations are happening at
Is this why we've not seen you? Is this why we've not seen you at some of those parallel events? Some of them have not been necessarily Nyota events. We have seen the interim party leader at events separate from UDA and its leadership or government, as it were. You have been conspicuously absent.
Yeah, but the party leader has the leeway.
SG?
Yeah.
You have been absent conspicuously from those.
What do you mean by conspicuously?
We don't see you.
There is no requirement on the SG to attend all those rallies. And the party leader has freedom to be able to consult party members, to meet delegates in the counties. There's no problem. He can do that.
All right.
And if he asks me to join him, I will join him.
Do you require an invitation to be part of it?
I am not saying.
You are a party member and Secretary General.
I am not saying.
Do you require him to invite you to
those events? But I require to be involved, to have information about where we're going tomorrow. I mean,
so what you're saying here,
just basically that.
So what you're saying here, Edwin, is you are not involved.
No, I wasn't involved
in those rallies.
You
are not informed of those rallies.
I was not invited. I was not involved. I was not informed. I saw them on the media the way that you saw them.
So where does that leave you as member of the party, but more specifically, Secretary General?
It leaves me as member of a party and Secretary General of a party.
If you are not being involved in certain key decisions?
Yeah, because if you look at the roles of a Secretary General, it doesn't say anywhere that I have to be involved in planning meetings of party members in the grassroots. Party members can plan a meeting in Kitui and decide who they want to invite, you know?
If you were
even
invited,
for me, when I went to Kawangware,
if you were invited,
yeah, if I was invited, I would go.
Okay.
There's no problem. I would go. Yeah.
If you were informed, you would go.
Yeah, if I was informed, I was involved, I would go.
All right.
Yeah.
So you haven't gone because you were not involved?
Correct.
Some of your colleagues in the party, some of them in positions of leadership and otherwise, have all but announced their support for President William Ruto's second-term bid. And so, you know, essentially, there seems to be a dichotomy. There is one term and there is two term.
Correct.
Where do you belong?
You know where I belong. Mimi ni wa one term. Proudly so. And it is because, as you have seen here, the party has not made any decision to support William Ruto in 2027. This is why the Central Committee said they will talk with different political formations. That is the position of the party. So democracy dictates that people have views on things. I cannot begrudge anyone who thinks that supporting William Ruto is the best thing. And I like some of them, by the way, because they have come out boldly to say after Raila died, my party leader is now so-and-so. They have said it openly, which is what actually democracy requires. And nobody can begrudge you for taking that position. But also, don't feel bad when people take positions that are opposed to yours. Now, Yvonne, when we go argument by argument, my personal feeling is that we will win every single argument. In fact, we have won every single argument on values, on ideology, on where the country needs to go, the sort of society we need to build. There is only one argument they are saying is remaining, and it's a physical fight. You understand? And you know, violence is the language of somebody who has lost the argument. These days, all they do is just to threaten, oh, we will come, we will kick you out, we will throw you out, we will beat you, including Yvonne. Can you believe it? That goons were allowed into the venue of a Central Committee meeting in Kilifi, and you could hear them even on hot mics shouting there. You know, it was quite unfortunate. So what we are saying is this, let us have a session where we persuade each other.
So what options?
You tell me this is the best deal. We went in with 5 ministries, tumeongezewa agriculture. Now we are happy. And that's it. No discussion on values, no discussion on expanding the democratic space, freeing up the country, respecting individual freedoms, the rule of law, justice, and the others. No discussion on that. We are just happy we go to the Ministry of Agriculture. And then we see, let the members decide if this is the best deal for ODM. A party that has presented a presidential candidate in all elections since it was formed. We have been the party who's been persuading other political parties. Raila persuaded 26 political formations, all of them which were formed to win power, to support him in 2022. We are saying we cannot even persuade one party to support ODM for presidency.
So what happens if this is somebody you say, to be clear, you do not support President William Ruto's re-election bid? So what happens if your party gets into a election, pact? The president himself, at a meeting with his party members just recently, said, he could win, the margin by 1 to 2 million votes, with ODM by his side. So what would happen if your party gets into a pre-election pact with UDA, with President William Ruto as the party leader, as the presidential candidate? Where does that leave you?
I still wouldn't support him. I mean, a ballot is a secret.
Please.
Nobody can compel me to vote for William Ruto. Number two, that math that you quoted is what we call voodoo math. William Ruto would have to break down that number for you, because for me, knowing what I know about how Kenyans vote, listening to sentiment on the ground from Western to Coast to Nyanza to Central Kenya to Eastern to all of those places, I simply do not see a path to power for William Ruto. In fact, I want to say
Wait, hang on a second. He does see a path to power with ODM by his side.
We have differences of opinion on that.
And that's okay. If there is that pre-election coalition pact with a person that you say you do not want to see re-elected in 2027.
See, I will still vote to kick him out.
This is not about who you will vote for.
I will still vote to kick him out.
Allow me to finish.
The ballot is mine.
Allow me to finish the question. Where does this leave you, being a member of a party that is now in a pre-election coalition pact, if we get there?
So let me show you something.
And I've not talked about you being Secretary General.
Let me show you something.
I'm talking about you. Please allow me to finish the question. You being a member of the party, where does that leave you, being a member of a party whose big decision to be in a pre-election pact is something you strongly disagree with, as we've seen here?
So I want to illustrate something to you. We are given 6 ballots, right? In 2017, even in 2022, you have people who belong to ODM, who will vote for Raila Odinga for president, come and vote against the ODM candidate in 2017, who was Kidero. They voted Kidero out. Members of ODM, they were giving Raila the votes, denying Kidero, voting for Sifuna, voting for Pasaris. You understand? When you are given that ballot, nobody is there to coerce you to make a decision. And for me, I hear them say they are tired of being in opposition. The surest way for ODM to end up in opposition is to get entangled with William Ruto because
with respect,
William Ruto is going home.
Respect, Edwin, I'm not
He's
asking.
going home.
I'm not asking.
You have asked me where it will leave me.
I'm not asking about how you will vote. That is your decision, and that is a private matter. I'm asking about where this leaves you in the membership of a party whose big decision prior to an election goes against your values.
This is what I'm saying.
Vote for.
I will exercise that value by voting against him.
Okay.
Yes.
And still remain a member of the party?
Of course.
Okay.
You are allowed to do that.
All right. So what options are you exploring then in that presidential bid? Should ODM, in your view, field a candidate?
Absolutely. And, you know, even the last time when we were here, I explained to you why I felt strongly that ODM should field a candidate. We have the opportunity of a lifetime here, in my view. Because of how the vote split in 2022, our candidate lost by a margin of 200,000 votes. In my estimation, if we just kept the constituencies that voted for Raila Odinga, we didn't need to do anything else because the person who has lost the biggest chunk of his support is William Ruto. We would actually win. I've heard people saying, oh, Baba never nurtured anyone to be president. And it is the biggest insult I've heard against Raila Odinga because he was not nurturing us in poultry farming. He was not making people who will come to be avocado or horticulture farmers. The Raila Odinga School of Leadership is about leadership. It is in the name. It is in the name. If you feel that you have not been sufficiently prepared for leadership, just step aside. To a jam.
So
that's what we are saying.
You believe there are people within the party who are capable of...
You know, people forget.
Okay, let me ask you
people
this.
Forget.
Let me ask you this.
Let me explain.
Does that... No.
Now I'm on the explainer. You're not allowing me to explain.
You have had every opportunity to speak.
Let me
also have
explain
an
this
opportunity
point,
to
because
ask
I will
a
lose
question. We will get to it in a moment. Do some of those people who could run for president include you?
Let me explain.
Explain.
Last time, when we were playing the election, do you know, Yvonne, some of them have had people saying here that the party leader is the automatic presidential candidate. That is not what the constitution of ODM says. The constitution of ODM says the party leader shall be the person who was the presidential election in the previous election. Do you see the distinction? That means the party leader is not the automatic presidential candidate, and that is why in 2022, with Raila alive, the National Elections Board of ODM put out an advertisement for people interested in being presidential candidates. We had two people who applied who were not party leaders. They were Raila's deputies. Joe put in an application, Oparanya put in an application, because that is what the rules of ODM says. So even if you were to go by 2022, are you telling me that Joe and Oparanya have somehow lost ambition or capacity to be presidential candidates? Just going by that. And which is why we are saying, if you are unable to, if you feel that you are not ready for this particular contest, you are not prepared well by Baba, or you are one of those who Winnie was talking about, you slept in the class, please give way. Give way, because as a party that has always fielded a presidential candidate, we have a responsibility to provide an alternative to William Ruto.
Okay, could that alternative be you?
Mimi, if they announce today that we put in our applications, if everybody else fears, I'll put in an application. There is nothing wrong with that. And let the members of ODM decide whether Sifuna can run for president or not. There's no problem.
Okay. As SG for the party, since 2021?
Yes, no, from 2018. This February, I am beginning my ninth year.
Your ninth year, yeah.
Yes.
So 8 years. You've had Kalonzo Musyoka as a running mate in your alliance 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And 3 of those was while you were SG. Would you support a Kalonzo Musyoka bid?
Now, you see, that is a conversation we cannot have now, because these conversations, the structured negotiations, have not been complete. If I understand what the Central Committee said correctly, is that they will talk to all these people and come back.
Would you want them to speak to, say, Kalonzo?
This is a resolution. It's a resolution. It's not what Sifuna wants. Even when they said beginning with UDA, I might have different views, but I cannot argue against it.
But that's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying.
Your views
different political
around
formations.
Other political formations.
This is the resolution.
Who are some of the political formations, in your view, now, as a party member, do you think you should be speaking to, reaching out? In
Kenya, the political formations are known. Right now, we have an opposition, and we have the ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition. So when they talk about different political formations, my expectation is that they'll talk to everyone who is a political player. Partners who you have worked with, for 15 years, as you put it yourself, would ordinarily be people you would talk to. Let's see what sort of offer they have to make. Compare it vis-a-vis the offer that we get from UDA, and for me, it has to be a value proposition for the country, the sort of society that we want to build, not just about who is a finance minister or who is a minister for cooperatives. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this united opposition? They've been saying quite a few things. Now I want to hear your political views now. They've talked about the preparedness of IEBC, for instance, amongst many other issues that have been taking place in the country. What are your views on that formation and that outfit?
No, most of them, by the way, are people that we are still in partnership with. So if you're talking about Wiper, we are still in the same coalition with them. Some of the positions we hold in Parliament, by the way, are courtesy of the Azimio coalition. I am a deputy whip in the Senate, not because of ODM, but because of the coalition called Azimio and the numbers that we have in the Senate and in the National Assembly. So there are people that we have worked with. And by the way, let us not water down the meaning of the fact that Raila chose these people 3 times. It cannot be watered down, Yvonne, because when we go back into that values conversation, he must have seen something in these people that says we can work with so-and-so and we cannot work with so-and-so. All these people were available as political players. In 2013, William Ruto and Baba had a relationship. They had just come out of the 2007 elections together. Why is it that Baba chose to go a different path and not with William Ruto? You know? So these are people that Mzee had worked with, ODM party had worked with for a long time. Let them, the party leader and whoever it is doing those structured negotiations, have a conversation and let's see what sort of deal they can offer.
Yeah, and Jubilee is also a member.
Absolutely, all of them.
Azimio,
all of them, they are still there.
Coalition, and they're still there. You know, there's been some changes and some movement that's been happening on their front. Now with the new deputy party leader in the name of Dr. Fred Matiang'i, he's been presenting himself as a performer even from his time in the previous regime. What are your views on him and what it looks like positioning?
What I'm saying.
And I'm asking now your personal views on this issue.
No, I've been told I don't have personal views.
By who?
Some characters there saying Sifuna has no personal views. Everything I say is as SG of ODM.
All right.
That so even when I'm in my house playing with my 9-year-old daughter, that I should be careful. That
so is that true? Is that true that you don't have?
Of course, it's not true.
Okay, good. So
I am a human being. I am an individual.
Great.
Yeah, so I have personal views.
Now, as an individual,
so I don't listen to those people who tell me that I don't have independent.
And as a human being, with your personal views, what is your personal view on Dr. Fred Matiang'i styling himself as a performer, perhaps taking a stab at the presidency in 2027?
So personally, I don't look at other people. There was a famous last speech by Raila at Agile Hotel. He told us to think about ourselves first. What are the things that we can do to put ourselves in a position where it is Matiang'i looking for us, not the other way around, you know? Or Matiang'i admiring ODM, or Jubilee admiring ODM, or Wiper admiring ODM, so that we must think about ourselves first. Okay. You understand?
So if Matiang'i then, like you say, approached ODM,
which the committee has mandated our party leader to do.
Fine.
Yes, they will have that conversation there, and then he will report to us.
I am now asking your personal views, which you have stated here, that you have in plenty. So, your view on if, in your words, if he were to court ODM, is that what you see could be a possible values
personally, my view is this, that ODM should seek partners who can be able to make us win an election.
Do you think?
And I have said here...
Do you think Matiang'i can make you win an election?
Let me finish. For me, the easiest way for ODM to end up in opposition again is to join up with UDA. Because I know for a fact Ruto is going home. That one I am convinced 100%. I just don't see a pathway for him to power. You know? So, any other person who can help ODM to be able to win, let the party leader go and sit down with them and talk and have a conversation about saving this country.
Okay.
Not just about who's going to become president or deputy president.
You are open to conversations with all other political formations.
This is a resolution of an organ of ODM, and as a member of ODM, I am bound by that resolution.
I am asking
They have said it themselves here.
Views.
They have said it here.
Okay, so allow me to ask this again.
Yes.
your personal views, as a Kenyan, as an individual, as a human being that you have told us tonight that you are, you would be open to conversations with other political formations because, hang on.
Why don't you allow me to go with the
because,
statement of the party?
The very statement of the party that you have quoted said that you are open to conversations with other political formations, beginning with UDA.
Which is okay.
That is fine. Yeah. Now, you have clearly said here that you do not believe that UDA is a fit for. Now, is that your personal view or is that your view as SG?
That's my personal view.
Good. Yeah. So, your personal view then about these other formations, would they be worth speaking with?
I have told you these other formations have walked the journey with us, many of them, including this Kina Kalonzo and Kina Jubilee and the others. And I have said, if Baba saw something in them, surely there is something in them in terms of shared values with ODM. So let the people who've been charged with those conversations have those conversations. As a member of the party, I will wait patiently to receive a report that says this is what Matiang'i told us, this is what Wiper told us, this is what Ruto told us.
Because
as members, where should we
Sifuna, you seem very categorical, personally, on not working with UDA, but you seem to not be committal and going back to your views as SG
I have committed
about the possibility of speaking with other formations.
I have said, these people have worked with us, Yvonne. How many times to answer the question? Let us talk to them the way the Central Committee told us that they were going to do. When this report comes, let us make a decision on a values conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Do you believe that you and, say, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his DC formation share values?
I would have to know what their values are. What are their values? This is a party that is less than, is it 6 months or 3 months? I have not heard them articulate what their values are. So during this conversation here, let's see what their values are. At least for UDA, they have shown us who they are with power.
So let's use this explainer today to clear the air.
Yes.
You have seen this not just at rallies, but online as well. Edwin Sifuna, you are being called a Gachagua mole. Are you Gachagua's mole or not?
I'm too big to be anyone's mole. People should be Sifuna's moles. What does Gachagua's mole mean, by the way, in your understanding?
You know the history of moles.
I don't know. What does being
Gachagua's mole? In the country's politics.
And what is the genesis of that? You know, this thing about moles in ODM, it's old. It's an old story, going back to even when the party was formed. And for as long as you don't agree with a certain position, you are branded a mole, you know? And it is quite interesting. I had these conversations ramp up after I ran into Gachagua at a funeral. And it was a funeral for a parent to a member of parliament from Nairobi. Here in Nairobi, we have always stood with each other. Even I have lost people in my family. All these members of parliament in Nairobi came to bury Uncle Lawrence. We have gone to bury Mother's, I think it was his mom, when she passed. We went to Gakuya's parents' burial as well, in Nyeri. And in fact, that burial for Gakuya's, I don't remember who it was, the father. It was the first time I met the deputy president, and he was the deputy president then. And I said what I said. So if there is a guest list for funerals, let them tell us. But you are not going to stop me from attending a burial of a colleague when a colleague has been bereaved just because Gachagua is going to be there. I will go to that burial, you know. So for me, really, I expect this because, as I've told you, we have won every argument in the party. The argument they are saying is coming is a physical war. You understand? So they have to look for excuses, and you know what they say, give a dog a bad name and hang it. You know, it's politics. This is kawaida. But I am used to it and prepared. In fact, that central committee that happened after our last explainer, Raila said something to me very profound. He said, Sifuna, even you must learn to have a thick skin, because all these people are going to say all these things about you. And he, even after gave his own life story, he told me, do you realize that the name Raila, like, he was one of the most insulted politicians. They said all sorts of things about it. I mean, it was incessant. It was daily. Out of the 7 newspapers we sell in the country in a week, Monday to Monday, 4 of them had Raila on the headline. Some of them saying true things, some of them saying things that were not true. So he said, you must accept that in your position, and he told me specifically, that in your position as SG, first you must accept that you will be criticized. You will be called names. They will spread rumors about you. They will say things about you that are not true, but you must remain focused. And the focus, the North Star for us is those values that we've spoken about here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a working arrangement between yourself, Winnie Odinga, Babu Owino, and James Orengo? I mean, we seem to see you saying similar things at, rallies or events together. Talk to us about that relationship. But,
first of all, we are members of the same party. And even by extension, some of my friends who are members of the same coalition. Politics can be very lonely, Yvonne. I have lost a lot of friends. These people you see, they are my friends. We used to spend a lot of time together, talk about the country, the values that we have been discussing here. And when all of these friends of yours instantly start singing a different tune, you also need to look for comrades, people who see things from the same perspective as you. That does not necessarily mean that there is a working arrangement. It's just that at this particular point in time, there's people who have taken a certain position, and then there are others who have taken an opposing position. And we need to be together to also guide each other and to validate each other and to correct each other. Sometimes they say Sifuna goes overboard. Sometimes they say other things, So you need friends and comrades in whatever cause you've chosen.
All right.
Yeah.
So friends, comrades. So no plan?
No, there's nothing secret in politics. If there was a plan, you would know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think ODM would you term it as being in crisis?
I don't think so. I think largely, if you ask me, largely a majority of members of a party, especially the grassroots leaders, know where the party ought to be. And it is in the feedback that we receive, we hear from the chairman, the grassroots leaders. We saw opinion polls, including one that was done by TIFA just the other day, that a vast majority of our members prefer that we end this relationship with William Ruto. That poll was not commissioned by Sifuna, So as leaders of a party, we also see this feedback. What we have is a philosophical difference in how we approach these things. And I have explained that philosophical difference, that there's those who appear to already have committed the party to things that have not been discussed, to use the language of Raila Odinga. And they are the ones in violation of these resolutions of the Central Committee. It is not Sifuna. If we said we want to have discussion, structured dialogue with all these political formations, can that dialogue happen first before you say you are committing the party to supporting Ruto for his second term? So in my view, this is why it is important, Yvonne, for us to have that NDC. And I would wish that members of the party come to that NDC and give a mandate to one side. Don't mix us up, because we will never agree. What do you think it would take to convince some of my colleagues there to abandon Ruto? It is impossible. They know it is impossible for them to convince me to support Ruto, So let the membership of a party, this is why we say, let us take it to the people. Let them resolve it, even if it will be, they are threatening us. They're saying, they will buy delegates, they will mess with the delegates list. Sifuna will not even be able to access the venue because we will put goons there, as I told you. Yani yao imebaki moja tu ni vita. Because if we sit down with them here and have a values conversation, they have nothing to say, So once the membership says, by the way, we are going this side, what they say in democracy, the majority will have their way, and the minority would have had their say.
Okay, all right. Let's get questions and comments from our viewers tonight. We start off with this one from Raul Voke. Says, let the SG declare his side, because you're either in government or opposition. We don't want fence sitters. Do you want to respond to that?
I think I have. I have said mimi ni wa one term. Ama anataka niseme nini?
Okay. Let's take another one. Here we are from my Masi Jr., I believe. Without mentioning names, Honorable Sifuna is painting a picture of individuals who are running around with the ODM party for selfish interests, contrary to what the party has stood for. I guess that's a comment. Otieno Victor says, did Sifuna support government campaigns for Raila AU elections?
I didn't support government campaigns. I supported Raila for the role. I said it even on this show, that I believed Raila was the best possible candidate. In fact, it is that government support that cost him the seat. I've said it. Yeah.
Another one here that we can see. This is from Bernard in Nairobi. 2 questions for the SG. One, what don't you like? Is it the leadership of ODM by Dr. Oburu, or is it the ODM-UDA talks? 2, because election has to happen in 2027 August. Which candidate are you supporting for the seat?
I think I've addressed my concerns about the leadership.
Yeah.
And in summary on question 2, which candidate are you supporting? I have said anyone but Ruto. I will not vote for Ruto.
Okay. Lois Kavindu in Nairobi asked Sifuna why he never campaigned for ODM candidates in Kariobangi North by-election.
You are a media house, you can play my clips from Kariobangi North, and you have pictures and videos. Let him. This is why I said people regurgitate a lot of, what is it called, ignorance online. Because you just Google Sifuna Kariobangi North. It will show you 1,000 photos of me in Kariobangi North.
Okay. Yeah. Let me take another set of questions before we go to... Okay, let's do Nicholas Wanambisi first. Given that ODM appears to be preparing to enter into a pre-election coalition with UDA, while it remains in law a constituent member of Azimio, what are the legal implications of such a position?
First, in my understanding of the Political Parties Act, you are not allowed to be in more than one coalition. You have to exit the coalition that you are in first, and then another coalition. And this is what I was talking to you about, that the constitution of ODM requires that for you to vacate the Azimio membership, you need 2/3 resolution. And also the Azimio side has requirements, like you have to give a 90-day notice and so on and so forth. So what I know is you cannot be a member of 2 coalitions as a political party.
Here's a set of questions. 1, can Sifuna explain the role and scope of NGC versus NDC? So maybe I'll just read out all the 4, and then we can take them one by one. Number 2, when were the 3 deputies and the chairperson gazetted to be able to act as he purports? 3rd, was their gazettement ever contested by Sifuna? And lastly, Oburu, deputies and other leaders have since been gazetted awaiting ratification by NDC. Was that gazettement illegal? Yeah,
now ignorance again. You are only gazetted as a leader of a party after the NDC. So none of those people has been gazetted, which is why we are saying, let's call the NDC so that we legitimize your position.
So they remain interim until
correct.
the NDC.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Here's another one. Why can't SG Sifuna just resign?
Why should I resign? You should give me one good reason, then I will resign.
All right. Then there is another one. Let's get others from our viewers. Timothy Webuya says, Mr. SG, do you know Okech Sala? He seems to be getting a lot of attention from the death of Baba. And I've seen a Twitter account purporting to be his, also saying some things about you.
You know, first, as I said, for as long as you're a member of ODM, even a member of the public, by the way, because as I said, ODM is a publicly funded political party. As a leader in that party, any member of the public is allowed to criticize Sifuna as SG. There's no problem with that. I don't quite remember when I first saw this gentleman, but I do remember taking note of him on the day that Baba died. As I told you, in the morning, we all headed to Mama Aida's home. And I remember when the president had already come in. And they were in the middle of, I think he was passing his condolences to Mama Aida. And there was commotion. Somebody just burst in and everybody was in shock. And that was my formal introduction to Okech Sala. Yeah.
And you have not interacted with him since?
No.
All right. So there's another one. Okay, let's get that one. The real Anto says, I have a question for Sifuna. Why is it that you never talk or put Sakaja in check? Is it because he's your fellow Luya, or are you eating together?
First, ignorance again, as usual. There's a group of bloggers there who have been put together to just spread ignorance. Because, Yvonne, in fact, I will share this with your media house, a summary of everything I've done in the Senate last year, including those sessions with Sakaja. You can go on my social media pages to see my oversight role in all my committees. The questions that I have asked about Nairobi, I have a summary here. I will give. This is all the work that I have done in the Senate in the last 12 months, including the representation of the people of Nairobi and the people of Kenya. Sakaja is scheduled to appear before the Senate again, I think next week, before the Public Investments Committee. You will see me there. He is scheduled to come before the Public Accounts Committee. You have seen governors appearing. Oversight happens in those committees. Some of these characters expect me to slap the governor when he doesn't clear garbage. That's not oversight, you know. So and the good thing with this media house, Citizen TV covers proceedings of the Senate, including today when the governor of Kitui was there. Those interactions happen in full public view, you know. These people feel that I spent inordinate time on President Ruto and that I should give him equal measure, give Sakaja equal measure. They don't know that the biggest threat to democracy, to even that devolution that we talk about, is not the county governors, it is the national government. And we have gone through all these things, including the 10-point agenda on how devolution is being systematically stifled by the central government, which is why my focus must remain. If we are going to solve the problems of this country, we must reform State House and the person who occupies it.
Okay. Yeah. Here's another question. Sifuna says he was not there when the decision to make Dr. Oburu the party leader because he was assigned to go and fetch Baba from Mumbai. Question, who assigned him the task? And does he think it might have been a deliberate move to get him out of the way?
It's possible, but you know, at that particular point, Yvonne, first of all, my head was just buzzing, you know? And people ask me, one day I will tell you the story, that the overwhelming emotion for me was actually anger.
Why were you angry?
I was so angry. I was angry at so many things.
Yeah.
I remember getting on that flight and I looked around. I couldn't see enough of Raila's friends. I was very angry. I was just wondering, who are these people going to fetch Mzee? You know? I was very angry at Nyayo Stadium that Baba, even when he was prime minister, you know, there used to be fights about even him getting police escort. And suddenly we have these police outriders in front of his casket, and he's taking this that to me should have been like his inauguration or something when he's going around the stadium. Things that were denied Raila during his lifetime. I was very angry that they totally blacked out his party colors at Nyayo Stadium. I was very angry they didn't even mention his political party. I was angry because we used to drape coffins of people, me and Mzee, in party colors. They didn't allow us to drape his coffin in party colors. They were telling us we were not even going to speak in Bondo. You know? That's why I was dressed the way I was dressed. I didn't know I was going to speak in Bondo. So, when I think about the events surrounding his death and how the things were handled, I mean, I couldn't tell you how that decision was made. But I remember I was there with 2 deputy party leaders. And that entire delegation did not comprise anyone from ODM. Then they said, Sifuna, the SG is here. Bring your passport, give you whoever. You know?
Who assigned you that task?
I'm telling you, we were 3 of us there in the leadership of the party. 2 deputy party leaders. I remember Senator Osotsi was there, and Governor Simba Arati was there. So when we looked at the delegation, it was government heavy. And as an afterthought, they say, oh, we need somebody to go. Actually, Junet was supposed to go. Yeah? We reached the airport, he said he was feeling unwell. And Eddie was not even on the list. When Junet dropped out, Eddie got on the plane, you know?
How do you feel about, because we haven't talked about that, on a personal note, Raila Odinga was your party leader, you were Secretary General. I'll give you a moment now to speak about Raila Odinga's passing and
I don't know,
and how you are coping with that.
We all know that we are all mortal, but nothing prepared anyone for the death of Raila. And there are simply no protocols to mourn a man of Raila's stature. But it hit everybody hard. I mean, it was a very difficult time for the party, for the family, of course, and for the country at large. And for me, even just getting to Mumbai, it was crazy, Yvonne, because we were technically never in India. We arrived there, and Baba's body was on the airside, you know? And it just looked so lonely and undignified because, you know, I think they were just waiting for us to transfer him onto the plane. And we had to, you know, pray at the airside there and basically turn around the flight, you know? And it was a very difficult moment for us. I feel that the state mismanaged the arrival of the body of Raila Odinga. And I will tell you two incidents. At the airport there, I feel that if there was, say, a public address system outside the airport and the leadership of the party were there, you know, to calm the people down. Because, you see, the members of the party want to see familiar faces in those times. Even in Kasarani, they really broke my heart because they were very avoidable. Do you know why people died in Kasarani? Because there was no sound address system, public address system for us as leaders to just assure these people that Mzee was actually coming, you know? We have screens there sometimes and you can see the procession. If those arrangements had been put in place, nobody needed to die in Kasarani. I arrived in Nairobi and went straight to my house to take a shower because I was told the body was going to Lee. Of course, the management at Lee knew they were not going to manage those crowds. And I was called by the sergeants at the Senate. And I was told, you know, we are already overwhelmed by the crowds at Parliament. Yeah. But those sergeants at arms in Parliament understand that the people need to see their leaders. And we saw you. And to listen to them. Yes. So when I go there, I, unfortunately, even for me, I didn't have a sound address system with me. But I was given this, what do they call them? Yeah, PA system. Blowhorn or something like that. And I talked to those people and I assured them that Baba was not coming to Parliament, that we are going to Kasarani. And when I left and they told me, we don't want to see you going inside your car, you'll run away. I was in my car and we walked with all those people all the way to Kasarani. When we get to Kasarani, there was no way to address the people, to calm them down and to explain to them what was happening. Because you see the difference between Kasarani and Kisumu. At least Kisumu was a bit better organized. There was an MC, there was somebody guiding the crowds. And all of us thought it would be actually worse than Kasarani. But because they could hear familiar voices of Kinamdomo Bagi and the others, they cooperated, you know. So, I mean, it was a very difficult time. But for us just, in fact, to add insult to injury is to see people just trampling on Mzee's legacy, putting words in his mouth, saying all sorts of things. Oh, he told me in private, in secret, you know. And it is quite insulting to the legacy of Mzee, but we continue to pray for his family and even for his spirit and his soul to just rest in peace.
What did Baba say to you? Everybody has had their version of what, this is what Baba told me, this is what Baba said to me, these were his final words to me. What did he say to you about the broad-based agreement, where it goes? And about 2027 and beyond? Yeah, now,
you know, nobody's going to believe me. That's a problem we find ourselves in because there's all sorts of jokers saying all sorts of things out there that, oh, Baba told me in private. In fact, what I have concluded, and I hope many people understand, is that let's just go with the things that Baba told us publicly when we were all there, you know? Because even this explanation of the reason why we got into the broad-based arrangement, he told all of us, you know? He told all of us at the last meeting, which was less than 22 days before he died, at the Agile Hotel in Nairobi, that ODM must be prepared to field a presidential candidate in 2027, you know? And this is the thing that is bringing me all these problems, Yvonne. It's not that I have fundamentally departed from the values of a party or that I am Gachagwa's mole. No. All these things are happening. All this war is being brought to my doorstep because I've said what were Mzee's last instructions. And he told all of us in the public, you know.
Let's take some final questions now as we get to the close of this. Hassan Mbangwe Sifuna is right, but speaking ruthlessly against the party you boast of being an SG to also raises integrity questions. What are you telling the junior party members?
I don't know what he means by speaking ruthlessly, but I'll take you again back to the constitution of ODM. The constitution of ODM sets out what is called the duties of members of a party. One of the key that I like the most is we have a duty as members of ODM to combat propaganda that is detrimental to the interest of the party. What that means, Yvonne, when the constitution uses the word combat, combat is not something that is polite. That is the word that is used in this document. And there is a lot of negative propaganda portraying ODM as a party that has already abandoned its values, you know? So we have to combat that propaganda and say, no, 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 no. There is a section of the party which still knows why we are together, why we were founded, and that we must insist on those values and not be drawn into this contest where we are being told we have to be in government by all means. What government? What government is also a critical question. If you want to be in government by all means, like our sister in Tanzania or our brother in Uganda, then you see that is where we part ways. Yeah.
Will ODM hold?
It must hold.
You think it'll hold?
It
or will
must
we
hold.
see ODM Asili, ODM...
It must hold.
Will it break up into different factions?
It must hold, and I will repeat and reiterate that we must hold. What I want to encourage people is all of you who hold positions like mine or contrary to mine, can we try to persuade each other? What's with the threats and intimidations? You know? What is the value of that? Even if Sifuna is to be kicked out as SG, it's okay. We will go to an NDC, run whoever candidate you want to run, a broad-based government candidate for SG, it's fine. I will respect the outcome of that race. But this issue of threatening people, like now when we are going to church in Kawangware last Sunday, can you imagine ODM leaders in Dagoretti North calling the bishop there, threatening him, telling him, oh, you can't host those people, they are rebels, and threatening him that his church will not be complete or it will be demolished? That's where we have gotten.
Okay, let's take the final question tonight. Ask Sifuna this, his critics, this is from Jethro, his critics within ODM and UDA claim he fears nomination competition and is demanding a direct ticket in the senatorial race. Since this isn't guaranteed, he's opted to rebel. Does this hold some water, Sifuna? And which post will he be running for, senatorial or Westlands parliamentary?
Now, how can you say I am demanding a direct ticket for the Senate, then ask me which seat I'm running for? You see, this is the sort of confusion that I see amongst these online critics, because he himself has to make up a point and in his mind. Am I demanding for a direct ticket for Senate, or have I not made up my mind which seat I'm running for? Okay. So the contradiction has to be resolved within his mind first.
All right.
Before he
let me break up the question. Are you demanding a direct ticket in ODM?
Why would I be? From whom would I be demanding a direct ticket? I'm the SG. Are you saying I'm demanding from myself?
Okay. Which seat are you going for in 27?
I have said I'm running for Senate in Nairobi. Okay. And I'm not going to run on the basis of whether I got a direct ticket or not. Okay. This summary of the work that I've been doing in the Senate, year on year, is what will either give me a second term or the people of Nairobi will decide to choose another senator. Okay.
Let's take the final comment. This is from someone who calls themselves truly patriotic Q. If you put aside your emotions and personal interest, you will realize that Sifuna is speaking facts and actually calling out impunity and poor governance, which are crucial issues affecting Kenyans. Fearless Sifuna is hitting the nail on the head, I suppose. So that's a comment. So you say in 2027 you'll run for Senate for Nairobi. I just have a final question for you. Sifuna, have you ever heard of something called the People's Renaissance Movement?
No.
Okay.
What about it? Is there something you want to tell me?
No, I'm just asking if you know anything about it.
Okay.
You do not?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Senator Edwin Sifuna. And ODM, that's the Orange Democratic Movement Secretary General on a variety of issues in this country. Let's take a break. The Explainer continues tonight.